In a galaxy far, far away. The next chapter in the Star Wars saga, Return of the Jedi.
So yeah, I've talked about it before, but I'm just going to say that I think Return of the Jedi is the best, next to the first one, is the best in the original trilogy. And I know people are upset about that, but let's talk about it. So everybody loves Empire, everybody talks about how great it is, how it's the best in the original trilogy. I've always thought Return of the Jedi is better. And I know people have their opinions on it, how they hate the Ewoks and other stuff, mainly the Ewoks, and I don't get that. I think it's interesting, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think Return of the Jedi is better. It has great action, great set pieces. You have a great ending to character. We finally really see the Emperor, and we see that look and how sinister he is. We have a great scene on the moon of Endor. Obviously, we see the Ewoks. It's just a great end out to the trilogy. Or at least it was for a while until we get the prequels. And yes, I love this movie. I think it's great. Just watched it the other day, and it still holds up. And I don't understand the hate for it. So yeah, spoilers ahead. Like I said in the, I didn't say that in the Empire video, but spoilers ahead. Obviously, this movie is nearly came out in '83, so this movie turns 40 this year. And so yeah, let's talk about the movie. Again, I always gotta say, positives of the movie is the miniatures and the scale and everything of how great it looks. They did an amazing job with this. I love the look of Endor. I love it. So, well, I mean, if you go out in California, you could probably make the same scenes. But you have not only do you have the new set piece with Endor, you have the set piece of the Death Star, you have the integral flying scenes where they're flying through the tunnels and the pipes and everything to take out the Death Star. You have that, which that looks great. I guess because it's on Blu-ray and it's been upscaled and everything so much, it looks like it's CG, but I'm not sure. I don't think it was CG, especially not back in the 1980s when it came out. But everything is well done. Everything is good. With the, I remember watching it. Maybe it was just me, but I feel like I remember watching it years ago. And the animation, the stop motion animation they used in Endor when they're doing that battle scene, it looked a little wonky. But in this movie, it looked fine. I think it looked pretty good. They did some editing in Empire 2, I believe, in the Hoth scene. But yeah, rewatched it. And yeah, this is the end out to the original trilogy. Luke, finally, Yoda tells him that Vader is his father and everything, and Luke confronts Vader. We meet the Emperor for the first time. He meets the Emperor for the first time. We see him throughout the series, played by Ian McDiarmid, which obviously he going on to play the Emperor in the prequels, and then just recently we see him back in the Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, what a great character. What a great sinister, evil character that is. Amazing scene. We have the droids going to Jabba's palace. We go back to Tatooine, and we see the amazing effect that Jabba, that puppet, made, and the Rancor, and that whole scene is great. It's a great action scene. One thing, obviously, gotta point out the CGI additions, the Jedi rocks. Obviously, that's kind of bad, kind of crappy. Those, and I've talked about it before, but those digital effects did not age well. It's crazy how, like, those were made. The changes were added. 97. Y'all could correct me in the comments below, but they. If you're watching this on YouTube, but they changed, those additions were added in like 97, 98, just before the prequels came out, or the Phantom Menace came out. Why does it look so bad? Because I'm pretty sure the Fifth Element came out not too long ago, and that had digital effects, and those effects look good. And you also have Jurassic Park, which the effects of Jurassic Park look kind of bad now, but this is, 30 years, that was 30 years ago. But you would think that you would think that people like George Lucas, if you're gonna add something, like adding the digital effects, like taking out, there was bad editing under the hovercraft in the original movie that looks rough because they're like fudged it out because it looks kind of rough. Like taking that and editing that to make it look more seamless, yeah, that's fine. You take the digital effects and you fix that. But when you're taking fully CG characters that are like have 3D lips and they're all articulate and everything, and it's like coming out of the screen, and then you have another CGI character that comes up and screams in the front of the scene, it just looks weird, and that effects don't mesh well with the great practical creature effects that they have all throughout every one of these movies, even the new ones, even the digital stuff that they have. There's still a lot of great practical creature effects, but in that 90s really rough CGI, and it got worse. And it's crazy how Lucas, and I know I'm dwelling on this a little bit, but it's crazy how the effects in The Phantom Menace look as bad as they do, being the company who made them. And just 2-3 years after The Phantom Menace is when Lord of the Rings came out, and that baffles my mind too. But we're talking about Jabba's palace for the good things, and not that. Jedi rocks. That's a bop. I don't know why people hate on that, but those effects look bad. To pull out a negative, to talk about a negative, but you have that amazing scene where he's fighting the Rancor. He outsmarts it. That practical effect looks fantastic. The effects of Jabba looks great. You get Leia in the skimpy metal bikini. Carrie Fisher looks great. And yeah, we get reintroduced to Han Solo because I didn't think he was going to come back for this movie. So we get reintroduced to Han Solo, and he comes out of the frozen carbonite, and he's obviously played by Harrison Ford, which he does great in this movie. And yeah, everybody gets all back together. Then you have the scene where Jabba takes him out to the sand pit, and he's gonna feed him to the hole in the ground, which they added the beak to, which was weird. And did they keep the beak for Book of Boba Fett? Because apparently Boba Fett comes back. Did they keep the beak for that? I don't know. I didn't watch the show. I didn't hear any good things about it. But yeah, you have that great scene where he's fighting all the monsters on that little boat thing, and she takes out Jabba. And I was partially editing the video for Empire, and I was also watching the movie too in this first part, so I didn't see the Force kick. So yeah, people always talk about Luke's Force kick, where he misses the guy by a mile and the guy falls over. If you want to hear more information about that whole scene, watch In Search of Tomorrow. In Search of Tomorrow. The 80s sci-fi documentary that they did, made by the same people who did In Search of Darkness 1, 2, and 3 now. The third one was advertising last year around Halloween time. But they talk about that scene. That whole scene's great. Luke goes back to Endor. We see Yoda's dying. Spoiler alert if you've never seen the movie. Yoda's dying, which is a sad scene to see Luke see his mentor after Obi-Wan dies. And then you got Yoda's dying, and Yoda reveals to him that Vader is his dad, and how Obi-Wan kind of lied to him about it, and he's upset. We figure out that they have plans. I just watched the movie the other day, but I can't remember. They have the plans for the Death Star on Endor, and they're supposed to go to Endor and get those plans and everything, and they run into the Ewoks. They have that nice chase scene where you have the I don't know what they're called. I'm just gonna call them stormtroopers. They're not stormtroopers, but they have those cool bikes, those really cool little bike things. They're fighting in that scene, and you have them crashing into the tree. Brutal death. When Luke cuts the front of the bike off and he just crashes into the tree, I always find that funny. You're just like, holy shit, he just killed that guy. Like, brutally killed that guy. But yeah, the Ewoks. And everybody hates the Ewoks. They're fine. They didn't bother me. Warwick Davis played a couple of the Ewoks. There was a scene. There was a dance number song scene that they cut out, apparently. So yeah, the Ewoks didn't bother me. People say, oh, they made it for the kids. Star Wars is made for kids. It's made for the fans who love Star Wars, but they're trying to sell toys. Kids buy toys. Or at least back in the 80s they did. They don't buy toys so much now, but kids buy toys. And they made it for kids. I mean, if you're a 30-year-old man, you're like, oh, they just made it for the kids. So yeah, this is made for kids. It's a movie made for kids. It's made to sell toys. It's made to sell games. Made to sell whatever. So all you fucking 40-year-old, 50-year-old men are out there crying that they made that for kids. Yeah, that's what it was made for. But anyway, didn't bother me as much as it did other people. Just the fucking crybabies who want to cry about, oh, they ruined Star Wars. Whatever. But another great couple scenes there where you have Luke and Han and everybody goes to the planet and they get captured by the Ewoks and they thank C-3PO as a god, where Luke uses the Force where he flies over him. It's a funny scene, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of levity in that whole thing. And then Luke goes and meets Vader, and they meets the Emperor. And what a fucking... Ian McDiarmid does great as the Emperor. His look and his tone and just his sinister nature that he brings to it. Even in Rise of Skywalker, even though he's a little bit older. And somewhat in the prequels, you know who he is, the way he sounds and everything. You know that he's going to become the Emperor. And... except although I like Revenge of the Sith, which people, I like parts of it, and that scene where he's like, no, it's silly. But other than that, he does great throughout the series. So you have their whole interaction. He's like, he gets angry at the Chancellor, and he's like, use your anger, and it's we see Luke. We think and people said for the longest time, it's like, maybe he's going to go transition to the dark side because he has so much built up anger about the Sith, and how he says how he's a Jedi and he's not going to conform to their teachings. And we see how much of a strong character Luke is, and he fighting for good ultimately. And that he was going to fight the Emperor to his dying breath. And it shows that Luke, he went from being this kind of, I would say snotty kid, but he went from being kind of like this whiny kid from Tatooine to becoming a leader, to becoming a Jedi. And he has a great arc there. And we miss, I'm not sure how long the time passed, but we missed a couple years. Is it a couple years? So from Empire to that, because they start rebuilding the Death Star, and it's partially thing. And the biggest thing was it was full when they took out the ship, that it was fully operational, and that they were scared what they could do with the Death Star, and that was another added factor. It was a little bit more danger aspect, so they had to succeed. They had to take it out, and there was more stakes in this movie than there was in Empire, and that's why I like this movie so much more. Everybody kind of plays a part. You have Luke and Leia on Endor. They're trying to take out the tower. You have what's his name? Lando. You have Lando. Sorry, Lando. He goes and takes out he's with the ships and everything, and they're trying to take out the Death Star. You have Luke that's trying to take out the Emperor and Vader. And everybody has their parts in this movie. Nobody's sitting back and not doing anything. And You have the great scene where he's take the Empire, Vader, they're fighting and everything, and Luke cuts his hand off. That's a crazy thing. It's like, whoa. He uses that anger, but the Empire is trying to say you got to use your anger and you'll fully conform to the dark side. And you know, Luke is so conflicted. But then you see Vader takes down the Emperor, throws him down the chute. I don't know what the technical term for it is, but he throws him down there and he kills the Emperor, or at least we think he kills the Emperor. Which technically the Emperor is still dead. I don't think what happened in Rise of Skywalker all counts too much. They actually talked about redoing that whole trilogy altogether, which that'd be nice. I mean, 3 more movies to fucking talk about, but yeah, the way that they did everything, and this movie, it all came together in what I thought was way better than Empire. And like I said, the negatives that I have with this movie are mainly towards the technical aspects, which obviously this is the only versions that we have of these movies that are fully restored, fully upgraded, fully all this. This is the shitty versions that we didn't want in the first place, that we don't need. But this is what people get for fucking shitting on the prequels, is they shit on the prequels so much that what's his name, George Lucas was like, no, we're not gonna give you the prequels. We're not going to give you the fully realized versions of Star Wars, because you didn't like Jar Jar, and it's punishment. This is what we get as Star Wars fans. We don't get the correct versions of Star Wars. But with all the crap added to the movie, great. And this movie gets an A+, without a doubt. Great film, great action, great drama, great scenes, and it's just an amazing sci-fi movie, and it's an amazing Star Wars movie. So what do you guys think? Did you like the movie as much as I did? Do you hate this movie? Do you think it's the worst of the fucking trilogy? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions, and the next video we do, we're going to talk about the Episode 1, the first of the prequels, and Jar Jar. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.